What's going on, everybody? Zach Walker, the Bearded Realtor here, checking in with my fearless, beloved partner, Keith Rowe, who is indeed a national treasure. Keith, how are you, buddy?
Just enjoying another day. How are you?
Man, I am living my best life. Look, we're getting moved into our new Cotton Row offices over here on Lindsay Lane, getting things set up, and as most normal grown men would do, we opted for a shared office rather than our own individual offices because it would be foolish. We would just spend all our time in each other's office. Anyways, so that's a good thing and a bad thing. It's great for us, not so great for you, because now you get to hear it from us about whatever's on our mind. And so I used to be able to do the real estate ride and rants on a regular basis. I'd ride around, I'd tell you what was going on, contracts that we were dealing with, situations, you name it, I talked about it. And this is going to be our medium for doing that. So we're going to dive into all kinds of topics, whatever it is that we're dealing with throughout the week or throughout whatever period of time between the first and the second, or this one and the next one. And this is going to be our way to come to you kind of raw and unfiltered, a little bit completely off the cuff
it gives folks a way to see what's really going on behind the scenes, because it's not always a smooth ride. Sometimes there's some hiccups, and it's nice if everybody can kind of be on the same page about the easiest way to get a transaction done, and because there's always going to be something, a bump in the road somewhere.
Well, a couple of things this week we've dealt with. We've had a couple flips that we've gotten ready to, or gotten on the market or about to go on the market. And we dealt with a couple of small situations throughout the course of this that really were just kind of like, huh? And so the first one that I want to talk about is, man, y'all get offended easy. An offer is an offer. And before I walk all the way down this path, everybody's already, don't send it. Let me finish first. Because we found ourselves in the situation
it's easy to be sensitive.
That maybe we used to give people a hard time about. But we had like 3 offers. And it was not just our deal, but another deal that I was helping one of my investors with, where an offer was written that was unreasonably low. Mm-hmm. Never going to happen low. And oftentimes I'm like, man, people just, why are you so sensitive? Like, it's an offer, it's a negotiation. Like, this is not take it or leave it.
It's somebody kicking in the door saying, hey, for me, this is
who's there.
This is what works.
Yeah. And then knock, who's there? Yeah. Marco Polo. Like, hey, this is our send, and you come back. Well, we often find ourselves saying, like, why are you so sensitive? Well, this week, folks, we got sensitive. And so we put a beautiful house on the market at a price per square foot that was more than justified based on some even really non-comparables in the area. Some houses that weren't truly comparable to the level of finishes that we had done in this one. And honestly, like, there was a conversation where we were like, I'm not even replying to that. I'm not even going to reply to that.
We got the offer in. We looked at it, and both of us, our default response was, don't even respond. Just let it go. And that would have been a very unwise decision if we would have let our emotions rule that.
You know why? I know why. Do you want to know why? Because we sold it full asking price, 6 days, no contingencies, no nothing.
To the
same people,
to the buyer that had kicked in the door with what we felt like was a below market offer. And if we would have just been silent, just thrown it out the door, then we'd still be holding the house.
Or it would have sold to the next person with a full asking price offer. But the reality is, it doesn't really matter. What matters is that we were able to sell a property for full ask that was originally presented with an offer that was like, not going to happen. So what do we take away from that? One, still don't be oversensitive. 2, as a real estate agent, which, we have a unique experience and an opportunity in this market. Both are licensed realtors. We own a retail real estate agency. We have 30-something agents that work for. I mean, we've got the full experience of retail, but also we're very active in the real estate investment market. And so we're buying, flipping, and selling again. And so we get to see kind of the whole
you're seeing both sides of the equation.
And so as a real estate agent, I'll tell you, like, yes, you work for your client. Yes, you need to give them the best chance to make the best offer and save the most amount. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, Had this house been in a different tier in pricing, they would have only had one shot at that offer, because as we saw with the previous flip that we put on the market, like the first one got it because they came in strong. And in this market, things are happening so quickly so don't be afraid to write an offer that's low if a house has been on the market for a while, if it's been out there, or if you don't really want it that bad and you just want to start negotiations. But also be conscientious of, as a real estate agent, be conscientious of, hey, if we don't write a solid offer right out of the gate, we very well may lose this house, because that will happen.
But I do want to really emphasize on the flip side of that. If you get an offer that is below what you wanted and it hurts your feelings, just why not go back with another? I've gotten many replies from realtors and sellers that tell me they're insulted, or that there's no reason.
We're not even going to entertain that.
And that is just silliness. Number one, there's no reason to insult the person that's trying to buy the house. Be professional about it and go back with a solid counter offer. What do you have to lose in that situation?
Let me answer that for you. Nothing. So that's one thing we've been doing with this week. It's been a fun process to get this property out and on the market and all that. We have 6 more. Closing another one tomorrow morning. So you can expect lots of great experiences and ranting through this. Another thing I want to rant about for a moment is the concept of comparable properties. We've run into this a few times lately. Real estate agents, allow me to make a public service announcement. And again, save your emails till I finish the whole thing. If you send me an email or text or phone call asking me to justify my price by comps, but there's nothing like what I'm selling in the market, expect to get no as a response. A couple things, just to give you here's some information for home sellers in this market. If your house is heads and shoulders above and different than anything else in the market, and what does a comparable mean specifically? Comparable means a property that is comparable in almost every way, or we're adjusting for what's not comparable to derive an adjusted comparable value, right? I don't have to justify my price to you if it's a price your clients want to pay. The market value of something is what someone's willing to pay for it, right? And so in real estate, the only factor that contributes to that in another way would be the appraisal process, right? Typically, like if I tell you I want $10,000 for this desk, well, that's foolish. I've got like $150 worth of supplies in this desk. But if you're willing to pay that, guess what this desk is now worth? $10,000, okay? In home sales, it's not that easy because we have the appraisal process that is built as a counterbalance, although don't get me on that tangent. We'll be here a while. Even though it's not the perfect system, it is a system of checks and balances for real estate because it's allowing us to say, yes, I think the house is worth this. And the bank's going to say, well, let's make sure we're going to protect our money we're lending to our clients by making sure that we can come up with that value. So an appraisal is going to protect your client on the back end when they buy a house. So you have that protection. Most people write in appraisal contingencies in every real estate contract. We're never going to shy away from an appraisal contingency because we believe, we know whatever we build into our flips will appraise, or else we're bad at our jobs. If we can't get it to appraise, we can't ever sell it. Right?
That's right.
But comparables, asking me to tell you why and show you 3 or 4 houses in the neighborhood that have sold for that price per square foot, I don't have to do that. As long as it will appraise and as long as it's a price that your clients are willing to pay, then it's priced well.
It is not an unrealistic request. I mean, as an agent, to want comps, to be able to justify a price. But what has to be seen is that if you are looking at comparables in a neighborhood that have been selling, none of them have been rehabbed up to what we would consider the modern trends with some new cabinets, granite, that sort of stuff. You may be the first one into that neighborhood to actually go in and put in those finishes. And so there's going to be discrepancy between what you see price per square foot of the houses that are unrehabbed. And you also have to be real careful that you're in a market that can afford the rehab you're putting on. So, but as long as you're keeping your finishes within the price range of the affordability of that area, you have to look at comparables as saying, okay, this house over here sold for $100 a square foot that hadn't been rehabbed. How much would it take in capital to rehab it up to the point to where this new property is?
Yeah, that's a good point, Keith, because I have a tendency to come across, you know, what's the word? I don't know. I'm a jerk sometimes. So what I'm not saying, don't hear me say you shouldn't be asking for comps.
Yeah.
That is a request that is reasonable. But what I'm trying to educate you on is that as a home buyer, when you tell your real estate agent, hey, go get me some comps in the area, you also need to understand that there very well may be none. You may be setting the market, and we're seeing that happen on a weekly basis now because inventory is so low, prices are so high that when we come in and we create the best house on the block, odds are we're also going to create a new price point. We're going to set a new comparable value. And that's just something that is odd. It's hard to wrap your mind around. It's uncomfortable even because there's no precedent, if you will, for the price you're about to pay for the house. But I can promise you this, it's going to sell for that price. Yeah. So you're either going to be willing to pay it or you're going to find yourself looking for another house.
Everyone has struggled, from the
Absolutely.
Retail market to the investors to realizing the change that has happened with all the jobs that are coming in, all the growth we're experiencing. It is really creating a new dynamic.
Super new dynamic. What was the other thing you wanted to talk about? There was one more.
We were talking about how you have to be flexible in the closing process. And you know, there's going to be times that a closing has to be moved to a later date for whatever reason. Your investor has an emergency, has to restructure some capital or whatever. But we've run into, every once in a while you'll run into a seller that you have a contract with. For some reason you need to adjust that out a week or two, and they just go ballistic over this inconvenience. And
Why? Here's the backside of that, right? So you've spent somewhere in the neighborhood of 20 to 30 days under contract with this particular buyer. There's earnest money on the table. There's signs that a good faith effort is being pursued by the buyer to acquire your property. Okay? They want it. There's not been a single problem. There's not
if you don't talk to them for 30 days, if you get it under contract, you don't hear from them for 30 days, and then they're wanting an extension.
If you're trying to talk to the buyer and they just for some reason are hard to get a hold of, or they're not answering their text or something, maybe that's one thing. But the reality of it is, like, here's your two options: work with them like you have been for the last month, or start over and you're 45 to 60 days out. If your property sat on the market for any length of time and you found a buyer willing to buy it, you better say yes.
And we always strive to hit our closing date.
Oh,
anybody
terrifies
does,
us more than it does.
But in a business to where you are rehabbing for a living, you are things are just going to come up. And so I just encourage everybody to be flexible and to remember, as long as you have a good faith effort going on by those buyers.
Are they demonstrating in good faith their desire to buy the property? Because at the end of the day, if they're not, then we have a whole nother situation we need to go and tackle. But look, at the end of the day, everybody wants to work with flexible buyers and sellers, right? We try our best to accommodate. We've closed on properties and given people weeks to get out of the house.
For everyone that might get kicked out another week, there's 5 of somebody that you were able to close in 3 days, or that you were able to go in and structure it in a way that was such a win, nobody else would have been able to do it. So, at the end of the day, you're always striving to make it a good transaction for everybody involved.
Well, I want to talk about the last thing we'll talk about on this episode is Wellington specifically. We have a property at Wellington that you're seeing some images of now. The property was very unique in the way that we were able to come about the opportunity, and so it's something that we really wanted to get involved in more. And so this is a public service announcement, if you will, in terms of if you hear this and this property it's your house, call us, see what we can come up with. But this particular property was, built in the late 80s. It was untouched since the late 80s. There's some granite, had some granite put in, some small things, but it really needed full-blown updating to be what we would consider, marketable. And so we got the call as a listing appointment. We went on the listing appointment, and the gentleman needed significantly more money than he was going to be able to get as it sat. And so the options were list it, let it sit on the market forever, and hope maybe we can sell it, or let's get creative. And so we were able to bring our capital in partnership with his ownership of the property. We invested some of money into the renovation. We touched all 3,705 square feet of that house, new paint, floors, cabinets, counters, moved a wall, reconfigured a bathroom. Yeah. I mean, I'm talking about went in there and did a ton of stuff. And for that capital, we got 3x return in list price. So just round numbers, let's say we invested $33,000. Our list price was $99,000 higher just by spending that there. Now, those aren't the exact numbers, but just as an understanding so that you get what the math looks like on that, we were able to get 3 times more capital on the capital invested. So what does that mean? A lot of times you're sitting in your house right now watching this video on Facebook, eating Twinkies in your underwear. No, I'm just kidding. It's a Ron White skit. But you're sitting there in your house on your couch, you're looking around saying, man, we could really use some upgrading here, but you don't have $20,000, $30,000 laying around. That's okay. Call us at 256-BUY-SELL, BUYSELL. Call us and let us come and see your house, because what very well may happen is we could bring the capital, that $15,000, $20,000, $30,000 that you don't have, we have it. And so we could bring that alongside you. We will do the renovation. Our people will do it. And that'll, get us to X point, right? And so let's just say round numbers. Let's say you have a 2,000 square foot house. You owe $100,000 on it. It needs $25,000, $30,000 worth of updating, and we can sell it for $215,000, right? So now we're in it, say $130,000, $140,000. We sell it for $210,000. There's $60,000, $70,000 there in profit that we would then turn around and split with you, the homeowner. That would allow both of us to make a win-win. We would make return on our investment. You would sell your house for more than what you owe on it. To instead of going from, I might not even be able to sell this thing, or I'll have to sell it at a steep discount, to I'm actually going to be able to get my money back and make a few dollars.
Well, I mean, you have been making the payments on that house. You've been trying to build equity. So if we can come alongside you, use your equity and bring our capital to be able to sell that price, and you make a better return on your investment in that property, it's a win-win.
That's what we call the old win-win.
That's right.
The old win-win. Right. And so we want to win with you. Win-win with you. We want to win. Call us to win. Anyways, you know what I'm trying to say. So I hope you've enjoyed this. I know that this is our version of therapy, right? So you get to be the therapist, and we get to lay down in the lounge chair, and you get to ask us how we really feel. And we're going to tell you, because for us, we love what we do. We love what we do. We get to serve people. We get to make money and feed our families. We get to enjoy the relational aspect of working with people and flipping and new home construction and real estate. And so this is our opportunity to share with you our experiences, but also there's a lot of knowledge in these two knuckleheaded brains here. If you can find it, it's there. But we've got a tremendous amount of knowledge that we want to share with you. Knowledge about real estate, knowledge about investing, knowledge about, you name it. And when it comes to design, real estate, flipping, investing, and selling houses, there's nobody better. And so we would like to, if anything else, just share our knowledge with you. Us, we never sell what we're doing. We never ask you to buy. Like, that's not who we are. We want to inform, educate, and entertain. And at the end of the day, through those three things, you're going to get to know us. You're going to get to know what we're all about, what we stand for. And hopefully, the hope is that at some point you'll choose to do business with us, because even through this medium here, you've developed a relationship. I listen to Rick and Bubba a lot. I don't admit that all the time, but I feel like I know the guys, like you hear about their kids, you hear about what's going on in their family, what's going on in their life. And so that's kind of what we're going for here. It'll change.
Well, it helps you know who you want to work with. I mean, when you can see somebody day in and day out, and this is us talking about gripes. It's not really, we're not even griping as much as we're just saying, hey guys, this is the business, this is how it works, and we can all work together and it'd be easier. So,
I honestly, if we didn't have these mics on and we weren't filming, honestly, you're going to see a lot of what we would do just in private, just in our conversations, in our and that's kind of the point of all this is like I feel a lot of the content that's out there right now is hyper produced, it's hyper planned, it's hyper scheduled. There's no such thing as reality TV, right? Because it's all scripted, and so this is our version of unscripted, just all access, if you will, behind the scenes. I mean, honestly, if you stuck this camera on the wall and watched it while we were at work, you'd see a lot of the same thing. And so that's just our goal, is to kind of let you in to our office, into our head, into our heart a little bit, just kind of hear our heart on a lot of these issues. And the next time we come to you, we should have Congress, which is the next flip, to a pretty good point. And I can't wait to tell you that story. That lady was literally 36 hours away from losing everything. Her house, they were coming for the house. They were foreclosing on it, kicking her out. And we were able to come in, purchase a property, get her out. And now it's become a situation where she won. We're gonna make money.
It saves her from having a foreclosure on her record. She was able to go on and get all of her things. I mean, it was kind of coming down to the wire to where she wasn't going to have access to some stuff. So it again, and that's what I love about real estate. And we harp on it all the time, the win-win situation. But I've done a lot of things in my life, and real estate is the one thing that I've honestly found everyone can make a good return and be happy. And I don't know, it's a beautiful thing to be a part of.
It is a beautiful thing. Like canola when it blooms.
Oh, beautiful. Sunflowers.
Roses.
You get all kinds of
sharks. I mean, all of it. It's just a beautiful thing. Okay, this is it for this time, maybe, I think.
Yeah. I think we're winding.
Wind your back. If you have any suggestions or ideas, or like, I don't know, like it's like a fireside chat, like, send in your letters and we'll read them live on the air. Whatever. Just send us some ideas. If you have questions, or if you've, off topic, off the wall, crazy questions. No question is too crazy. That's not true. There are some things that we probably won't answer. But if you've got anything, shoot it over, email it. Call us, shoot Facebook message, whatever. We'd love to interact with you guys some on this and just kind of see what, where it all lands and see what we can come up with. So this has been a blast. We'll see, we acted like we were only going to do this a couple times a month or so. I have a feeling that this becomes a more regular thing. And so I'm excited for that. Because therapy is expensive. So, as always, check the link below for any of our other content, access to our flip videos before and afters, the tip of the week. There's all kinds of video content for you here that will help you in your, in pursuing being better at real estate investing, real estate design, remodeling, you name it. So, if you need us, you know how to reach us, beardedisbetter.com or 256-BUYSELL. If you want to buy or sell a house in North Alabama, call 256-BUY-SELL. Man, I love that freaking phone number.
Nailed it.
We're getting a billboard. It's happening. It's going to happen. Stay tuned. Part 2 of the rap video coming up. There's a lot of fun stuff happening. You guys don't want to miss it. We'll talk to you guys soon. All right, have a great day. Thanks.